All right. All right, here we are, guys. It's been a while. It's been a minute, but we're doing it. We've got a big time playoff game in college football in just a few days here. Going to go ahead and push out the pre-game video now so we don't have to think about it during the weekend when we'll all be inundated with Seahawks stuff. And I can just go ahead and say what I feel needs to be said now. So, in just a few days here, New Year's Day, 5:45 p.m., the Texas Longhorns take on the Washington Huskies, number 2 versus number 3, college football playoff semifinal Sugar Bowl, and it is a phenomenal opportunity for Washington to continue to push through in this final year of the Pac-12. Um, they've been they've been frustrating over the last 2 months of their season. They disappointed with some of their efforts. They struggled. They underachieved, but they kept winning. And if they can win another game, they're going to be up for the grandest prize of them all. And what can you say about that at that point? If they actually pull it off, if this Huskies team wins it all, then you can't really say anything about the struggles. You can't really say anything about, like, oh, this, oh, that, oh, they weren't that good in this game. Like, no, nobody's going to care about that anymore. Least of all me. Now, right now, it's just something to talk about, but it won't be discussed at all. We won't need to discuss it at all if we can just win these next two games, finish the job. Okay, so first of all, I plan on live streaming this game, do a play-by-play reaction on YouTube. I'm going to go live. I'm going to go live basically right before the game starts, somewhere time around 5:45 p.m. Probably eat dinner a little bit beforehand, or maybe a little bit during the very beginning. I don't know, but either way, we're going to just stream a watch along, play-by-play. I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to talk about the game. Going to go through play by play. Going to try to figure out what's going on. Going to try to get excited. Going to try to get pumped for these Huskies to hopefully get it done. And hopefully you guys come out and watch. Hopefully you guys come out and participate in the chat. And we're going to have a great time discussing the Washington Huskies, hopefully getting it done against these Texas Longhorns. So, yeah, there will be a watch along stream. Gonna match it up with the game. And yeah, I hopefully there's a good turnout. Usually for these playoff games, there is, and usually the playoff games have nothing to do with me. I'm just streaming it because it's something to do. So yeah, the Washington Huskies live streaming play-by-play goes on even in this playoff game. Now let's talk about this game a little bit. Obviously, Texas is a modest favorite, which, I mean, that's kind of interesting, right? We're higher ranked, we're undefeated, but Texas has the most impressive win in college football this year because they rolled into Alabama and won. So that's obviously something that is really, really big in the minds of these odds makers and voters and betters, and I think that's overruling a lot of the other things going on here. I would say that game was a long time ago at this point. That game was way back in week 2, but it seems like the memory of that game has really had an effect on the perceptions of Texas. Now, that doesn't mean to say they're not an excellent team, and it certainly doesn't mean that we are going to have an easy time at this, not at all. I can't imagine anything further from the truth. This Texas team is extremely well rounded, extremely well balanced, and offensively, they can do a little bit of everything. They're led by quarterback Quinn Ewers. He's got two excellent receivers that he throws to in Worthy and Mitchell, and he's got Jatavion Sanders. That is about as stacked of a pass catching crew as you will find in all of college football. Two receivers that are going to go probably in that first to second round range, and I think Jatavion Sanders is going to go in that same late first, early second range, probably. At the very least, he's a second round pick. So they've got a deadly passing attack. Washington's defense has been playing really well lately, but people didn't really seem to buy into it until that Oregon game. When they actually did what they did against the Ducks for most of that game, that was kind of the moment when I and a lot of people realized, wait a minute, this defense might actually be good. They got Asa Turner back. They got a couple other players back now. So maybe they're up to the challenge. They've also got to deal with Jonathan Brooks on the ground game, but If this defense was able to go toe to toe with Oregon, they should be able to go toe to toe with Texas. I don't think that there's some radical talent difference. So I will say that the fact that this Huskies team was able to play such good defense down the stretch of the season, that's obviously a big confidence boost of me thinking they can win this game, or at least not win. Let's turn that off for a second here. I do think that there is some reason to believe that this defense can hold up this Texas offense, but it is going to be one of the toughest challenges of the year. And this defense has gotten beat up before. They just haven't done it lately. Now, I don't know what that means given the fact that our last game was like a month ago, which is one thing that I hate about college football playoff. It takes so long to get to the games. You don't really know what's going to carry over and what's not going to carry over. But I feel like this defense is up to the task of at least slowing them down. Where this game gets really interesting is when Washington has the ball. And Michael Penix, has not really been on point lately. He's been off for the last month and a half of the year, I think. He just did not look the same. Had some bad performances, mediocre ones. Was not the main reason why we won a lot of the games that we won. So there's going to be some kind of temptation to put the game in the hands of Dillon Johnson because he's been such a good running back for us the last couple months. And Dillon Johnson's been great. But something tells me that we are not going to be able to handle that Texas run defense, which is probably the best in the country, anchored by T'Vondre Sweat and Byron Murphy II. That is a big, big problem. And if we go into this game thinking we're just going to play it safe, play it easy, play it soft, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, try to be balanced, I'm a little worried about that. That, to me, is the thing that could pose a problem. I don't think we're going to be able to run the ball on Texas. Very few teams do. And while I love our offensive line, we have one of the best, maybe the best offensive line in football, in college football. I don't really want to see this team try to run the ball on T'Vondre Sweat. Like, that sounds like a recipe for a lot of disappointment and a lot of failure. So, ultimately, this game is going to come down to the arm of Michael Penix and our passing attack, because you can pass on Texas. Can't run on them, really, but you can pass on them. They have a decent pass rush, but it's not anything that I think stands out the way their run defense stands out. Their secondary has some good pieces, but it's not over the top the way that their front is. And our receivers should be able to win that match. So, to me, this game, I mean, it's very appropriate that this is the part of the team being put in the spotlight. But we're going to need Penix to bring it in this game big time. And we're going to need the receivers to be on point. Because I don't think we're going to be able to win this game by just managing the game the way we did to a certain extent against Oregon. You could run the ball on Oregon. We did run the ball on Oregon, and we were able to kind of mitigate some of the problems Penix was having in that game. I don't think that's going to happen in this game. So Penix has had a month to rest. If he's hurt, if he's sick, whatever, that should be done, or at least largely subtracted from the equation. Or you're not going to have a better opportunity to get better than the almost month layoff we've had. So that's what the game comes down to. If Penix cannot perform on a high level, we're not going to win. If we try to run the ball a bunch against Texas's front, we don't win. But if Penix is allowed to air it out and he's up for it, we win. I know that sounds like a very simple analysis of it, but it just strikes me how this game really feels like it's going to come down to Penix. If he plays the way he's been playing for the last month and a half worth of football he's played, basically, I don't see it. I don't think he can get away with the way he played against Oregon. I don't think he can get away with the way he played against Washington State. I just don't see it. We got away in those games because, well, Wazoo's not good, but in the Oregon game, we got away with it because the defense played really well and the running game was on point. I don't think you can count on those two things happening in a game like this. I mean, I love that Dillon Johnson's foot feels so much better. He was playing through a lot of pain the last few weeks, and he toughed it out, and now he feels better, and that's great. But I'm still not trying to give him the keys to this offense. So, DeBoer, you got to lean into it. I mean, if Penix goes out there early in this game and it looks awful and just can't hack it, then I guess you got to do what you got to do. But don't believe that your running game is going to win this game. I just cannot see that happening. I cannot see a running game beating Texas. So do things the right way and hope that your best player can perform. And I think you will win. I think we're going to get it done. But we need those things to happen first. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bow down to Washington. Let's get it done. Let's go get this win. Let's move on to the national championship game. It's been a great season. I love what this team has accomplished this year. It's been an absolutely incredible ride. But let's keep it going for at least one more week. How about that? Okay. See you guys later. Bow down to Washington. Back to Seahawks stuff for the remainder of the weekend headed into the new year.